I've got the top 2 searches from Google, and one's going to be, will home prices drop in 2025? And the other one is, what does a realtor actually do? These are 2 great questions that I'm going to answer for you right now. Everyone's asking, will home prices drop in 2025? Before we make a move, there's something even more important you need to know: what a great realtor actually does to protect your money, because those 2 things, well, they're certainly connected. There's no question about that. As a realtor, you are a fiduciary. You have fiduciary responsibility to your clients. If you're working with a realtor who has taken the realtor oath and who does care about their clients, then it's certainly somebody who's going to put you first as the client. So the market question is, what is it that's influencing the market? And are prices going to drop in 2025? Interest rates. Interest rates are certainly influencing the market right now, along with affordability. With interest rates and affordability, those 2 things are certainly impacting the market across the board, and that's nationwide. Silicon Valley, we tend to work at a different pace. But let's look nationwide first. If you look back at 2019 and now 2025, we're actually looking at the same types of inventory levels that we had back in 2019. We're living post-pandemic now. Back in 2019, we have the same types of inventory we have right now. If you look at inventory levels, 6 months worth of inventory, that turns into a buyer's market. Nationwide, right now, we have a 4-month worth of inventory. Silicon Valley, we're back to about 2 months worth of inventory. Now, if you sandwich that together, not all of the sellers are selling. And yes, that's absolutely true, and that's what it says in some of the headlines. Not all of the sellers are selling because they're locked in with the rate that it just doesn't make sense to get out of. There are sellers that are selling, and those houses, when they're priced right, they sell quickly. So sandwich that together, the next question becomes with the interest rates. So interest rates, once the interest rates come down, are all of the sellers going to flood to the market? Truthfully, the answer is no. And the reason for it is this: even if interest rates are cut tomorrow, we're still going to have interest rates that are higher than what they were when people bought in 2020 and 2021. So the question becomes, why are buyers interested or more interested when the interest rates come down? They'll be more interested when the interest rates come down because simply making the interest rates, once they get to 6%, it actually opens it up to millions of people who are currently sitting on the sidelines waiting to be able to purchase. So you take that affordability part, and then you take the interest rate part, you put them together. People can't afford if the interest rates are lower. That's not everybody, of course, and so that's certainly going to be a different conversation. But it comes back to affordability. Are houses affordable right now? The answer is no, but part of the reason is because of interest rates. And are sellers selling? Some, but again, those are the ones that are going through a divorce. Those are the ones that are going through a big move for a job or another life, maybe a death. Those are the people who tend to be selling right now. And eventually you will have people who are moving up, but those people can wait until interest rates come down. So that's kind of the interest rate in a nutshell. Then you also look at the local economy. Local economy for Silicon Valley is doing great. Across the board, the jobs reports are back and forth, but ultimately jobs reports are doing okay, even though the feds will not drop interest rates because they're saying that jobs are doing great. But once we actually do show jobs across the board softening in any way, shape, or form, the feds will start to drop the rates. And it looks like the word around the campfire, so to speak, is the feds will be dropping the rates in September. So then it comes down to, will prices drop in 2025? The national headlines will give you one answer, but in our market and nationwide as well, there's some soft spots. But our market, specifically in Silicon Valley, trends show more competition ahead of rates falling. And that means prices could hold or even climb, but projections are that the rates are going to come down and that the prices in Silicon Valley will continue to raise. And they have been continuing to raise over and over again, and this year in 2025 is no different. So if prices aren't guaranteed to drop and competition could heat up, You need someone who's not just opening doors for you, but actually navigating the market on your behalf. And that's where a fiduciary realtor comes into play. Market analysis beyond Zillow headlines, negotiating to save money or win in multiple offers, managing legal, contractual, and timing details to avoid costly mistakes. And one thing to know is I work with multiple attorneys who actually have me represent them on purchasing and selling their properties. Attorneys are not the only ones who work on the legal basis with documentation. The documentation for California is different than documentation for other areas and other states that sell. California is not a lawyer or an attorney-based purchase or sale. In other words, we have escrow, we have title. However, an attorney is not necessary to do a purchase. That's why I work with attorneys who hire me to represent them, sell and purchase their homes, their personal homes, as well as their clients' homes. In a shifting market, the right realtor isn't a luxury, they're your edge. Somebody who does this for a living, it's very important to work with them. Whether you're buying and want to beat the competition or selling and want every dollar possible, strategy matters more than speculation. If you're wondering what moves make sense for you right now, let's talk. I'll give you the real numbers for our market and show you exactly how I work to protect your investment. Ultimately, what it comes down to is you need advice in order to navigate a real estate transaction. You need somebody in your corner to make sure everything's being done properly. That goes with your selling or your buying. It does not matter whether you're selling or buying. When you go someplace and you ask for advice, it makes sense to work with somebody who does it day in and day out. It's a full-time thing that they do, and they learn constantly from doing each different transaction. I recently was working with a client who's working, and it's a divorce transaction, and they do not agree as far as how much money is going to be settled at the end. That's not my position. That's not escrow's position, and that's not title's position. In that scenario, that is an attorney's position, but it also needs to be navigated in the sense that things are being handled properly. Those types of things come up all the time. Those types of scenarios come up day in and day out. Some of the scenarios that we get to work with on a daily basis, it's a blessing for the person that I'm working with because I'll have the solution or I'll find the solution for them. At the same time, it's also a nightmare if they didn't have someone like me in their corner who's willing to make sure that they're being taken care of properly. Give me a call if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns. I'm always here and happy to help. Talk to you soon.